Hello. I've got rosy cheeks because it's very warm here in Portland, Oregon today, and very warm in my sewing room with all the lights. Can't wait to turn on the iron, but for you, I'm gonna do it. Yes, Mary, it is hot. So if you're just joining us, let me know where you're from. Let me know what the weather is. I might be looking for a new locale, although it is supposed to cool off here. I believe tomorrow. It was 95 2 days ago. I think like 93 yesterday, 85 today. I'm not built for it. I am not built for it. Hi, Angela. How are you? So, yeah, I feel like I look warm and we are just getting started, but that is okay. We are going to get this done. So, today I'm going to show you how to make these little snap fabric baskets. I put a tutorial on my YouTube channel back in November, and this has been one of my more popular tutorials. I did it a few years ago too, but I did it again in November with much better cameras and sound and everything. And also, if you sign up for my newsletter, you can get the templates for placement of the snaps for free. I also have the full pattern for sale in my Etsy shop, and the links to those are below this video. So, hi Sandra. Indiana, how's the weather in Indiana? And Dee Lee, hello. Where are you calling from? I'm checking everybody's weather because I'm hot. My hair's probably not going to stay down very long. But anyway, we're talking about these little fabric baskets, and I've always liked them, but they have become a new favorite, almost like the soup bowl cozy. I talk about that a lot. We use it almost daily in our house, and now this is my new favorite thing. I have it on my nightstand, and so all the stuff I keep on my nightstand and reach for while I'm sleeping. Okay, sorry, it's my friend's birthday, and I forgot to text her that I was going to be on YouTube. Anyway, all the things that I reach for that used to roll off are now in the basket, so it's awesome. It's also great for travel because like you can unsnap it, it travels super flat, and then you can use it on your nightstand or elsewhere. There are going to be 3 different sizes, but oh, mid-70s, that sounds awesome. Anyway, in the comments for the video when I was using this fabric back in November, somebody said, how can I make it stiffer? I was like, that is a really good question. So I've been playing with that, and today I have an answer. So see how this is kind of flexible. So when you would use it, you know, things could kind of make it bow out a bit, I will admit. And now this one is much, much stiffer. It is a little bit harder to sew than this one, but I'm hoping that you can kind of see the difference as I'm playing with it. So I'm going to change cameras so you can see it from above. So see how this one, like if we put stuff in it, what stuff do I have? I don't know. See how it can kind of push on those edges? It doesn't move these edges. And the difference is what I put in the middle. I got to move all this stuff. This, the original pattern, I used fusible fleece, one of my favorite products. For this one, the stiffer one, I used this, oh shoot, it's glaring. Hold on, let's open it. I hate glare on videos, but I'm not using my fabric scissors to cut that plastic. Not gonna happen. Okay, that's better. So I'm using this Fusion Shape from Pellon. It is very stiff. It feels almost like cardboard. And I'm using the kind that fuses on one side, not both. I believe they make it both ways. This is just what I've chosen to use. So we're going to play with that. But, let's see, near Chicago, 75 and sunny. Awesome. Okay. Back to me for a second. So I want to show you really quickly, let me get to my other screen, some of my new fabrics that are just hitting the stores. So exciting. So I know it's June and we're just getting into the heat of summer, but that means we're going to start sewing for the holidays, right? So let me show you. Are you seeing, let's see, make sure you're seeing this. Okay, I'm trying to show you, okay, yeah, you're seeing it. There's a little bit of a lag, so I wanted to make sure you were gonna get what I wanted to show you. So this is my second Christmas fabric collection with Riley Blake. My first one was a flannel collection, and it was gnomes. Loved it, super fun. This one's very, very different. It is a cotton collection, and it is called Come Let Us Adore Him. It has the nativity scenes. Right now I'm showing you just a sampling of the panel that has the 4 rectangular shapes, and then also that one long nativity shape on the bottom, and a few of the fabrics. The pattern to the right, I think it's on the right, well, the pattern under the name, that is the free pattern that you can get on the Riley Blake website that goes with the panel. And then there are also 3 patterns that are for sale with this collection. If you have a shop that carries these, ask if they have these patterns. Otherwise, I do have them in my Etsy shop, and you'll notice that that first one, Stars Over Bethlehem, does include the long part of the panel from the last page that I showed you. And then there's also another one that is just Starry Night, which somebody said, why on earth would you have made that if you already made the other one? And I was like, well, at some point, people won't be able to find that panel, and they might want to just do it for an astronomer or something, like my dad. So that is my Christmas collection that is just hitting stores now. I think it's hitting my doorstep tomorrow. Then I also have my 3rd Hanukkah collection coming out. This one is called 8 Nights, 8 Lights. And I'm really excited that Riley Blake is very committed to the holiday of Hanukkah. They want me to keep creating this every 2 years, so now I have to come up with a new theme and look for 2027. So this shows you, this is the free pattern, which has the panel. I kind of went with a Nordic look on this one instead of more painterly. The last collection had a little more color in it. The first one was more painterly, blue, white, silver. So that is going to be in stores too. And then there are also some patterns for sale with that. Check your local stores, or I do have these in my Etsy shop as well. And it's really interesting, this interactive one, I just thought of kids, right? I thought, oh, that's going to be great for kids because you want to teach them about lighting the menorah, and you might not want them playing with fire. But interestingly, when I was at Quilt Market in Houston, a lot of people were buying it for people in assisted living where they're not allowed to have fire. So they were really excited to have this as an option for the Jewish people that are not allowed to play with fire. All right, so, sorry, my allergies are killing me. I've been wanting to scratch my eyes out today. All right, so I just wanted to show you some of the new fabrics that you can see in stores and online from me this month, next month, and then I have the Covered Bridges in Fall will be hitting stores in July, so I'll be sure to show you that. Oh my gosh, that's next month. Crazy. Okay, back to our project. Oh, funny. I thought I was like looking at the camera thinking I was talking to you, but I wasn't. Okay, so this is what we're going to work on. These little snap baskets. Oh, look, this is going to be the best way to show you the difference in these products. Floppy, not so floppy. But like I said, this is definitely a little bit harder to sew with, and we'll get into that. So first, let's look at our supplies. So for each basket, I'm going to make the small basket, which is, which size? 8-inch, from an 8-inch square. And you can get this when you sign up for my email. There's a link below the video, and I'm also going to take a quick second and put it in the comments because you're going to want that. Let's see. So this will take you right to that. And even if you're on my email list, just fill out that form. You're not going to start getting emails 3 times from me, but it's just going to send you this. So it gives you the sizes that you need to cut, what the bottom size will be, what the side height will be. And then this is the important part, these little templates. What I did was I printed and I laminated them. See how they're shiny? And so then I poked the holes where the holes go. There are dots on the template, and I can use it over and over again. I have also figured out how to hack the sizes. Sorry, I got a cough. Okay, water, hold on. All right, enough of that. I figured out how to hack the sizes a little bit. So if you have 10-inch squares, like maybe you have pre-cuts and you want to use that, go for it. You can then decide what size you want the edge to be, and you can use that size template. And I'm going to show you how to use these templates, not only on the size listed on here, but on a different size and have them still work. So for each basket, you need 2 pieces of fabric, the same size square. These are 8-inch. One will be the outside, one will be the inside. You don't even have to decide which is which yet, not until we are doing the snaps. Then I have a piece of this flex, what's it called again? Fusion shape, cut to the same size. So those are the 3 pieces. Then you need these little plastic snaps, which we zoom in a little bit. Move them. So CamSnap is the brand, and that's camsnaps.com. They're a US-based company, and then there are lots of other companies that make these plastic snaps. The main thing to know if you want to, I don't even know if I can show you how this is different. If you want to do this thicker, you're going, trying to focus on my hands. You're going to need large. So this white one is large. I don't know if you can tell that the pointy part is slightly longer than on the pink one. So the pink one is standard, very standard size. You want to get long. So these are number 20. I think that has to do with how wide the button is. So these are 20 long. I also use the long snaps for baby bibs or anything that I'm using that has like a terry towel, because sometimes these small ones are just a little bit too small and they might come apart. If you buy the kit, it usually comes with an awl, which is basically a small ice pick. I don't know why I always compare it to an ice pick. I've never had an ice pick in my life, but that's what I think of when I see that tool. And then you can also get this hand press to squeeze that together. Or if you've been on enough of my live videos, and I don't know if Helen's here today yet. She usually shows up. She convinced me, hold on, let me move this. She convinced me to invest, I'm gonna try not to get myself greasy, in this big old thing. You can't even see the whole thing. So this thing's really heavy. It's metal, and it is more of an industrial press. You can get lots of different dies. You can use it for magnetic snaps. You can use it for these plastic snaps. You can poke holes in it. There's a couple different things that you can do with it. But if you're doing a lot, and especially if you were going to do like sew and sell something like this or anything with snaps, you might want to look at investing in that. And by investing, I think it was about between $70 and $100. It was an investment, but I love it. It is so much easier on your hand and your wrist. Okay, oh good, Mary, thank you for letting me know that you could tell the difference. So let's get started. Move my snaps. We'll talk about them more later. All right, this is my new pressing board. I'm going to do a video about how I made that. I needed something bigger because I was tired of moving that little one around. So the first thing we need to do is we're just going to take these squares, we're going to put them right sides together, and then we're going to put the fusion shape on top. Now, if you know which side you want to be the back, which I'm going to have the honeycomb as, and by the back I mean the bottom, the part you're not going to see as much, I would usually put the fusible side on there. So I'm going to layer it. This will be the inside of my little basket or tray, whatever you want to call it. This will be the outside, and then I'm going to put this here. Fusible side down. I'm not going to fuse it yet though. Now I'm going to find my clips. And I'm going to clip this all the way around. Now, one thing that is definitely harder with this product than with fusible fleece is turning it right side out and yeah, getting it pressed nicely. There's always a little bit more of a bubble or kind of a wrinkle in it, and when you go big, it's even harder. So this is the bigger floppy one, which really does get floppy when you're using that. It's great for bread and stuff that doesn't really push on the sides, but you start putting things in that push on the sides, it loses its shape. So this is the one I did with the flex shape, and it ended up looking good, but it was really difficult to sew. Let me show you, see if you can see it, how it's just a little bit more wrinkled. I tried a 1/2 inch seam to see if it would make it easier. It didn't really, it just made it a little more buckled. But once you put it together, it's not as bad as I thought it was going to be when I was sewing it. I just wanted to show you the difference. So if you want to try this, I highly recommend you try it with the small size first, because you don't want to get as frustrated as I got. I also, the other problem I had with the larger one was I had bought the material, you can buy it where it's folded up like this, but I had also gotten it by the yard a while ago, so it kept rolling. I couldn't get it to unroll, and so then I'm trying to sew it together and it's rolling, and the fabric isn't staying totally flat. It was a little bit of a mess. All right, so clip these together. Now, one of my tricks, so I remember to stop and leave space for opening, is I will put 2 clips where I want to stop. So we're going to start here. I'm going to end here. Again, with this thicker material, you're going to want to leave a larger space open for turning than if you were using something softer. So if I was using the fusible fleece, I would probably leave about this much room open, but for this, I'm going to leave about this much room open. Make sure you have sewn past the corners. You don't want to leave a corner open. Okay, so now we are going to cut to the sewing machine, wake it up, and I'm just going to sew around, leaving that opening. I'm going to be using a walking foot, I think. Okay, I am. I just need to activate it. And then I already put blue thread in here, because you're going to be able to see it easier, and also when I'm doing the top stitching and all the lines when we have turned it right side out, I want it to blend with my fabric, so I wanted it to be blue. Now, because this is going to get turned right side out, I'm not going to worry about a bird's nest, so I'm just going to go forward and back. And even if your machine knots, you want to go forward and back on this because you need that strength for flipping this right side out. All right, so while I sew, you are going to tell me some things in the comments. So one thing I was wondering yesterday when I was working was, what do you do when you're sewing? Are you just sewing? Do you listen to music? Do you watch TV, listen to books, listen to podcasts? And if you have any suggestions, I'm sure I am not the only one that would be interested in knowing what you think is good right now. Oh, I'd also love to know what you're sewing. Have we started working on holiday sewing yet? Do you actually do that Christmas in July? Do you start sewing for the holidays early, or are you more of a last minute person? All right, so we have that sewn around with a nice big spot for turning. I'm going to come back here. Let's see, Melissa, podcast or music? I know I don't have a TV in my sewing room either, and we weren't allowed to have the TV on a lot as kids, so anytime there's a TV on, I cannot do anything but focus on it. I'm like a moth to a flame. Okay, so now I'm just going to trim these corners, and I like to do them in 2 steps just so you have less of that fabric going into that little spot. but make sure you're not cutting your stitching. Okay, snip, snip, snip. All right, now we are going to be turning this right side out with the fabric. So don't turn it like that or you're going to have done the wrong thing. So you're going to just pull from the fabric. Now it really pulls where you sewed. So what I recommend is that you get that flipped as fast as possible and have it flip down. You don't want to keep the strain on that stitching. So see how I've turned it down like that? Almost like you're folding down, I don't know, a bag. Do that and then work on flipping the rest so that you're not going to be pulling or ripping that fabric at all. You can see this stuff, it's stiff. Oh, I gotta plug my iron in. Hold on. It's not hot enough in here yet, but we're almost to the ironing part. Ooh, baby bibs and burp cloths. Do you have a baby coming to your family, Suzanne, or do you sell things? I want to know why you're working on baby stuff. That's fun. So now I'm just using my fingers to push out those corners as best I can. You can use a turning tool, and I always say, or a chopstick or something like that, and I've never had a chopstick, so I grabbed a chopstick. So let's try it. So when you're pushing these corners, you just want to make sure you push really gently so that whatever you're pushing with doesn't pop right through and then you're starting over again. Now the other thing that I'm sure you're noticing is how warped it is. And that is just from the stiffness of this material, because you saw, I feel like a magician, but you saw at the beginning, everything was the same size, but because my hair's falling out, but because of when you sew it together, it kind of pops up. So we're going to have to be careful with how we iron that down. 3 babies in the next 6 months. Okay, hold on. I got to put my hair up, you guys. This iron's killing me. That's exciting. Do you know what they are? Girls, boys? A little bit of each. So if you've watched many of my videos or me much, I have a newish, he's 2, great nephew, and he lives in North Carolina. So I woke up on Sunday morning to the cutest video that my niece sent me, and he was saying, "More Tara." And she's like, "More Tara?" And he's like, "Yeah." And then he waved at the camera, and she's like, "Okay, we'll call," which I was still asleep. So then I tried to call them, and he tried to call back, and I didn't answer. I think I was emptying the dishwasher or something. And she sent me this dramatic thing. He throws his hands over his head. And he's like, "More Tara, more Tara." And I don't think I've ever heard him say my name before, so totally made my day and made me want to jump on a plane. Okay, so iron is heating up. Ooh, 2 girls and a boy. Congratulations. So what I do is I have what I want for the inside of my tray on top. And that's why I kind of put the back forward, because then I know this one's going to be the one that's got like all the air. So then I just push down and I start at a corner, and I'm going to press down and make sure that those seams are going right on the edge. Like, we don't want some of this going to the back. We don't want it ironing like that. We want it to be right on the edge. So I'll kind of hold that down, and then I'll start with a corner. And I never start with a corner right by where it's open. And then I just keep moving around, and I do all the sides that are sewn before I deal with the part that we use to turn, because that's the nightmare part of this project. Because not only are we going to have to press it, but we're going to have to get it folded under. But I've done a few, and if I can do it, you can do it, I promise. Ow. This thing puts off some steam, I tell you. All right, so see how nice and flat that's getting? I'm going to turn it over. I'm going to press it on the other side too, because that's where the fused side of this stuff is, just to get it adhered there. I had my little clapper at the ready in case I needed it. I didn't really need it for that part, but I am going to need it for this part, if for nothing else that it's going to burn my fingers. Oops. Okay, so now we just have to get this all folded under so that it looks like a nice line. And I found it to be easiest to fold the backing. You need to zoom in on that a little more again. Let's see. Okay, fold the fuse, why can't I remember the name? The fuse and shape and the back fabric first, and just kind of finger press that into submission. I've also tried ironing it before doing this part, and then I usually just burn my fingers. It doesn't make that much of a difference. So then I hold that down, and then I match up the top. While still making sure this is going to stay flat. So I can't get it all the way. I'm going to do this first section. Ow, or not. Glad I didn't have that heating up the whole time we were chatting. All right, I'm going to use my scissors to hold that in place so my fingers can be a little further from it. There, that's better. All right, I see ya. Okay. Let's see what Mary's doing when she's sewing after I conquer this and still have fingertips. Now, one problem I definitely find with this, and it's a bigger problem the bigger the square, is when you're turning both of these, even though everything started the same size, the one that's just the fabric seems to have a little bit more going on. Like it feels like it's going to buckle a teeny bit when we sew it. See how it's got like a little bit of extra there? So you just do the best that you can. All right, ooh, steam. Oh man. Sometimes I use a smaller iron, which I should have done. But you need a big iron with a lot of steam to do the rest of it. It's this end part that gets you, or gets me anyway. Okay, well, I've made a little bit of a mess of that. Let's see if we can fix it. Ow, cool it off first. All right, let's see. So Mary listens to audiobooks, podcasts, or music. Remarkably Bright Creatures, Lost Girls of Paris. Oh, I haven't heard of either of those. Is Lost Girls of Paris a World War II book? Sounds like a World War II title. All right, anybody going anywhere fun? I'm getting ready to go. My son lives in London. He was just here with his wife for 2 weeks, and we are going there in just under 2 weeks, and then we are going to do a 12-day British Isles cruise. I'm so excited. Let's unplug this. And I will definitely be bringing 2 or 3 of these little baskets with me to hold all my stuff. All right, so I'm just going to, that'll get fixed on the sewing machine. So I'm just clipping where it was open to try and get these edges lined up where I want them. All right, so now back to the sewing machine. And we're going to sew all the way around about 1/8 of an inch from the edge so that we're sewing that folded over shape flex into the edge. Now, because this is so thick, I'm going to use, actually I need to grab two. I'm going to use two of my little folded leader fabric things. This is just a piece of fabric that I've folded over, wait, can you see it? Okay. That I folded over a few times and just zigzag stitched so that I can stack them. So if I only need, sometimes I only need one, sometimes I need two. This time I'm going to use two. And what you do, if you haven't done this before, is you're going to butt it up against your project. But you want to make sure it doesn't go under or over your project, because we're not sewing it to the project. We're just using it to help our sewing machine and our presser foot stay level. So, and then even though I want to be sewing really close to the edge, I'm going to have my leader fabric covering the presser or the feed dogs on my sewing machine. So now when I put my presser foot down, it's nice and flat. Otherwise it would be really tilted. I'm going to pull up my bobbin thread, which means I'm going to hold the thread, put the needle down, keep holding the thread, lift it, give a little tug. If I had $1 for every time I said all this. Then I'm going to use tweezers, pull up that bobbin thread, put both under the foot, and I'm going to hold that as I start to sew. So I'm going to do a few stitches forward. And that prevents the sewing machine from just like pulling that thread down and making an ugly bird's nest that you would see on your fabric basket. Now see how that's kind of popping up a little bit? You just have to use scissors to just kind of keep it flat. Don't use your fingers. I don't want any emergency room stories. It's too painful and expensive. And then once you get past that open part, you can just whiz along. And where'd the other one go? Oh. At each time you turn, grab those leader fabric again. And I can't see the comments while I'm sewing just because of where everything is, so I peek at them when we're working on my workspace, but I'm not ignoring you, I'm just can't see my computer. Okay, so now we have a stiff square basically with the front and back. One more thing I need to get out. Oh no, please let me get it out. Okay. Move this. Zoom back out. All right. Let's see. Okay. So Mary wants to know if it would work to cut it a little bit smaller than the square. Possibly. I tried it a little bit smaller, but it still was a problem because then it was unevenly in there. I don't know, maybe if we just fused it, I'll try it, or you try it, Mary, and let me know. Maybe if we cut it smaller than the seam allowance and fused it to the fabric and then did it and then sewed into it, that might work. I will report back. I will report back because this isn't the best. All right, so now we have our stiff square, and we're going to go back to our chart. And this is the small 8-inch, so the sides are going to be 1.5 inches high, which is this. So in order to do that, we're going to sew 1.5 inches from each edge on all 4 sides, all the way from edge to edge. So 1, 2, 3, 4. A couple ways you can do that. You can just use your needle plate as a guide, which will work for 1.5 inches. You could put a piece of tape down that helps as a guide. You could draw on here If it was a lighter fabric, you could use a heat erasable pen. We could use white. Mine just ran out, so I can't. You could do a chalk line. I don't like, sometimes chalk lines don't come out really well for me, so I don't like to do that. So I am going to use this. This is, and I think most sewing machines come with this. It's like a little seam guide foot thing. And I'll show you when we get to the sewing machine. It sticks into your foot and then you just move it so that it is whatever distance you want it to be. And then as you sew, you just run your fabric right along there. And this can go, I believe, up to like 2.5 inches out from my needle. So I do like that for these projects. So that is what we are going to go and do next. All right, Mary, if you try it, you have my email, so you report back, please, okay? Okay, so I'm putting this little seam guide, there's a little spot that it slips in to the side of my foot. And then I'm going to take a ruler, and we want this 1.5 inches. So I'm putting the ruler at 1.5 inches to the needle, or the needle at the 1.5 inch spot. And then I'm just going to push that over so that it lines up with that edge. So now when I sew next to this, I'm 1.5 inches from the side. And I like to try, you want to use your leader fabrics again. We use them a lot, and we do a lot of bobbin pulling up on this project. So I usually try and get my bobbin pulled up right around where I just stitched, but sometimes it's a little forward, that's fine. You just want to make sure it's pretty close edge to edge. All right, so there's one. Oops. You'll be a pro if you've never done this technique of pulling up your bobbin thread before. You're going to be a pro by the time you make one tray. So let me know which name you prefer. I've seen it called both things, fabric tray or fabric basket. I use them pretty interchangeably. Wow, it's really making a lot of noise cutting. All right, just wanted to make sure I had enough bobbin thread, which I do. Try and make sure I have that all set before I get on here with you. All right, we're on our third. And I'm using a 2.4 stitch length. That's just my sewing machine's default. And as I'm doing it, I'm thinking, you know what, that could be longer. I'm not going to make it longer now that I've done 3. But if you wanted to, it could be longer because it's not holding anything together. It's just going to help your tray or basket fold. So you could go up to like a 3 and it wouldn't take quite as long to sew. Whoops, I didn't have that on my fabric. There we go. The bobbin thread needs to be pulled up through your project, not in front of your project. All right, so we have those 4 sides. We'll come back over here and trim off some threads. So trim off all the long ones on the front. Where's the other one? Should be one more. Oh, there it is. See, it blends so well. You could also use like alternate thread. If I wanted it to really show, I could use like bright yellow or this green color. And then I can wait till the end, but just cut off the threads on the back. Let's see. Okay, next we are going to work on our snaps. So I'm going to show you how we're going to use these little templates. And as promised, I'm going to show you how you can hack the templates if you use a size that is different than on the chart. Zoom in a little bit. So this is 8 by 8, which is the size. So this is going to work in the corner. The important things to be looking at, hold on, is that upside down for you? I think that's better, right? Is that right side up for you? Look at YouTube. Yeah, okay. So the important part of this template, obviously the 2 holes, so that we're putting the snaps in the same place on each of the corners so that it's going to fold up nice and evenly, right? Like that. Okay. But the other important part are these little stitch lines, and that is how you can use these templates with different size fabrics. So like this one is designed for a 12-inch square, but I have used it for a 10-inch square. You just have to make sure that the 2 holes that you're going to punch are going to be inside the square that is made by these stitch lines, which you can't see. If I go like that, can you see it? So these are those stitch lines that we just did, right? 1.5 inches. So you just need to make sure your holes are going to be this side of that. So if you want to figure them out yourself, you can too. You don't have to use my templates. They're just to make your life easier. Hopefully that makes sense. If it didn't, drop me a comment and I will try and help you out. So I'm just going to line up the edge of the template and kind of the stitch line with that stitch line with the corner. I'm going to hold that. I'm going to make sure my finger's not under that hole, and then I'm just going to push straight down to put those 2 holes in the fabric. Then we're going to get 2 of the button part of the snaps. Oh, okay. And 1 male part. This is the part I love when people say, I tell people not to giggle in the video because the male part goes, no, the male part is like bumped out, right? And the female part is bumped in. So you can decide if you want to giggle at that or not. Now I'm going to push this through the hole that we just made from the back. So now is when you're committing to the front or the back. Once you push this through and make 1/2 of a snap, you're committed, because this is going to be on the outside. You with me? Okay. I always come back and I take my nails and I push that fabric down as far as I can on that dot, because even when you, or on the point, when you push it through, it doesn't push through quite that well, but you want to make sure that this really adheres well so that it's going to work. Then I'm going to put the male on there. And then if you use the hand one, I'm trying to make sure on screen. Okay, if you use the hand one, the circle part goes in this black, and then this pushes down and it squeezes it together. So you want to make sure it's just everything sitting flat. Good. And then you just squeeze. And for whatever reason, I don't know, I watched too much Wizard of Oz as a child, I always squeeze 3 times. And you can see what it does is it flattens the point of that plastic. And then you're just going to do the same thing in all 4 corners. So push that through, push that down, put the other half, and then just make sure on each corner you're using 1 male and 1 female so that they are going to snap together. Test it. Yep, works. Oh, the other thing I didn't mention was let me zoom back out a little bit. On a lot of my baskets, I sew corner to corner on the inside. I just feel like it holds everything, make sure it doesn't move around. This is less of a problem, this heavier material, than the fleece might be. Actually, that one I didn't do it. For this size, it's optional. For bigger ones, I would say you definitely want to at least do that crisscross just to keep everything in place. You can do any kind of quilting you want in there, obviously. This could be really cute too. There's an ant. Ugh. Get out of my stuff. These baskets could be really cute with a quilt block in them too, right? So if you wanted to make like a little one, I think that might even, let's measure it. Might be 6 inches. Well, it's measure 5.5 inches. So you could hack that and put a 6-inch block in the center and then do the ends and make it so that's really cute. You don't have to just do a single fabric on each part. And that's all you do. We're just going to go around and do each corner. You can go around and punch all the holes first if you want to, and then do all of the snaps. Just be careful and don't stab yourself with the awl. All right, now, while I finish the snaps, I want you to tell me, A, are you going to make these? B, who are you going to make them for? You can make them for yourself, gifts. This could be a great little teacher gift, coworker gift, Christmas gift. Depending on the size of the stocking, it might fit in a stocking, but it might just be better. I just made some for my daughter-in-law. She loved them. She said she's going to be traveling with them now. She travels a bit for work. I felt a little bit bad because she definitely left my house with more stuff than my son did. But I don't know, there's just more to sew for girls. I made her scrunchies too. She had to model a few things. So you'll see her modeling in a few of my upcoming tutorials. The price of getting things. All right, so let's see, we are almost done with this project and this little live. Then I will schedule something for when I get back from my trip. I'll be back, uh-oh, I lost a piece. I'll be back mid-July. So do you want another like project? Oh no, I lost the other snap. Oh well, I guess it doesn't really matter. Wait, I had a bag of them somewhere. Do you want another project that could be like a Christmas gift? Do you want, I've never done a live of, well, maybe I've done a live of a quilt block. We did the heart quilt block live. Do you want a live for a quilt block next? Let me know what you would like to chat about and sew together. And then remember, there is a link below the video that shows you where you can get the templates for free or where you can buy the written tutorial that has pictures step by step of exactly what to do so you don't have to refer back to the video if you don't want to. And you can get that in my Etsy shop. Okay, making sure I alternated them properly. Okay, so stores and travels flat, making it like perfect for holidays. I think this is a great size, this big size, which is the, I think I started with the 15-inch square. It's great for bread. So like for Thanksgiving, for barbecues, you would just want to have rolls out. I've even used it for napkins. Just, you know, if you want to put napkins in something cute for a buffet, just keeps everything tidy and organized and clean. And they're, like I said, they're super easy because they store completely flat. These snaps come in all different colors. And like I said, I'm gonna start using this one on my nightstand. Okay, so this is the first time I'm snapping this one together. And you'll notice that the side is kind of down. And that's just because it's the first time and I didn't do this. The first time I do them, I always fold them and just kind of finger press. For the bigger ones, before I put the snaps in, I sometimes will fold these lines and press it with an iron. But you don't want to melt your snaps. But if you do that, it goes back together a little bit better without much manipulation. But you can always do that when it's folded together so that you have the shape that you want. That's it. Now this is work mode normally. Hair up, often hot. So this is how you can make these trays that are much firmer. So again, it is the fabric. You can get the free templates, and you're going to be using, dropped it, the Fusion Shape or something similar. This is what Pellon has. I'm sure there's other companies that have a similar product, but this one works great. So if you make any and you put them on social media, be sure to tag me. I hope you subscribe to my channel so that you see all the new things, new tutorials and everything coming out. Look for my fabric in stores. I love designing fabric. I do a lot of juggling over here. Painting, videos, sewing, trying to sleep, all that stuff. So anyway, thank you so much for coming. We are all done. All right, I'm getting votes for another small project. We'll probably do some kind of other small project that would be easy to, like, fabric scraps, whip up for lots of little people, not little people, but lots of people that you want to give something, a little token of appreciation for. So anyway, I appreciate you. Thank you for joining me today and have a great night.